What's going on, you guys? It's Cody Steck, your Utah Realtor. Today we're back with another video. We're taking a look around Utah County here on the computer screen. I'm going to be pulling up a map of Utah County. I'm going to tell you everything that you need to know about the area as far as where the development is happening, what the prices are, where the best schools are, and things you need to know about getting around and just what is in each general vicinity. We're going to be talking about everything here on the map. So if you're making that move and you're considering moving to Utah County, this is going to be something that you really want to pay attention to. Utah County is primarily known for the tech industry as well as the healthcare industry. These are the two major industries here in this area. A lot of the people who live and work in Utah County are a part of those industries. So if you're a part of that industry yourself, you want to make sure to pay attention here to this video. It's going to be helpful. And if you're thinking about making that move here to Utah, make sure to get in touch with me as soon as possible. I've had people from all across the world reach out to me asking, hey, what's it like to live there? What do I need to do to make a successful move there to Utah in general? I love hearing from you guys, so call me, text me, email me, get a hold of me any way that you need to so we can have a chat about the type of home and lifestyle that you're looking to have here. I love it when you guys reach out, and I'd love to help you make a successful transition here to your Utah home. With that being said, let's just jump right into the map and start telling you everything you need to know. All right, so the first thing I want to jump into and point out to you guys is where the boundaries of Utah County actually sits here in the area. So this is Utah County right here. You've got Provo as kind of the heart of it. You've got Lehigh up here to the north, and this is right where the northern boundary sits. This area here, where you can see that this map kind of points out here to the west. This is called Point of the Mountain. So you'll hear people call it that, and that's the north end of Utah County right here. Coming over here on the west side, you've got Saratoga Springs right here and Eagle Mountain. Utah County actually comes out here all the way to these western mountains and then comes down. Right here in the center, you've got Utah Lake, and to the east, it kind of comes up here over the Wasatch Mountains all the way down south, and even comes all the way down here to Santaquin, which is on the very southern end of Utah County. So like I said, Provo is kind of the heart of it. Down here, you've got Spanish Fork, Springville, Mapleton. These are kind of some smaller cities that are seeing a lot of growth. And then you've got Payson and Santaquin. A lot of people are choosing to go south just because the land is cheaper. It's some of these smaller towns that are seeing some new development here. So these areas are going to continue to grow. Right now, they're kind of the cheaper areas as far as Utah County is concerned. You are farther away from Salt Lake County. But if that's not a concern for you, this might be something you consider. So as you come down here further south, you get down into Juab County. This is where it really turns into like that small town feel as you get away from the main metro area. So coming back up here, I want to point out first off Lehigh. Lehigh is one of the most popular cities in Utah County. This is really the heart of the tech industry. If I zoom in here on the map, you're going to see Thanksgiving Point. This is a very popular shopping center. There's movie theater there. There's a garden there. There's a golf club. There's tons of golf course. I was going to say a golf club community. And so this is a really popular area. This is what really kind of set Lehigh on the map to begin with. And then right here along this I-15 corridor is where you have all of these tech companies that are setting up shop. There's a ton of office buildings, and this is really kind of the heart of it. Now, that doesn't mean you need to live there necessarily, but this is kind of the, this is where all the action happens as far as that goes. A lot of people commute into this area from Salt Lake County or from out here in Saratoga Springs, or maybe a little bit further south, or possibly even live right in Lehigh themselves. So Lehigh is kind of the main center of that part. Coming over here, I want to talk a little bit about Saratoga Springs, which is right here, and also Eagle Mountain. So this is Eagle Mountain, the ranches, which you're going to see right here. And as you come out here further south, this is Eagle Mountain City Center. So these are actually two different parts of Eagle Mountain. You really need to be sure that you understand that, because you've got the ranches up here and Eagle Mountain City Center. These are two different areas, and they're about 15 minutes of driving apart. So if you say, oh, I live in the ranches, that's very different than saying, oh, I live in Eagle Mountain City Center. So just something to be aware of there. The ranches is a little bit more expensive because it's closer into town. Out here in City Center, it's still growing. There's mostly just houses there. There's a school, there's a couple little restaurants. I think they've got a grocery store now, but for most of your needs, you're coming in here to Eagle Mountain, the ranches, possibly even Saratoga, or even all the way into Lehigh for a lot of those other things. So just keep that in mind if you're looking at those areas. These are all going to be brand new. There's some farmland out there, there's some older houses, but pretty much everything in this area, at least least 90% of it is going to be built in 2000 or sooner. So coming back over here to Lehigh, like I said, this is kind of the main tech corridor. Right here, you've got Highland and Cedar Hills, and then up here, you've got Alpine. These are three cities that are very exclusive. The prices here are very high. You get big homes, you get nice homes, you get great views of the whole valley, but it is a little bit more expensive. So expect to pay somewhere between, you know, $600,000 and $800,000 for a home in one of these areas. It is more expensive, but you get what you pay for in those areas. So Highland, Alpine, Cedar Hills, right there. And as we move a little bit further south, you've got American Fork. I'm just going to point out these cities here: Pleasant Grove, Linden, Orem, and down here you've got Provo. So Provo and Orem are probably the oldest parts of the county itself. This is where a lot of the old growth has been. Anywhere here along the Wasatch Front, you know, from Lehigh all the way down to Provo, that's where most of the growth has happened, you know, in years past. I'm talking 1940s, 1950s, 60s, 70s, 80s, etc. And now a lot of the new growth is happening up here in Highland, Alpine, and Cedar Hills, as well as out here to the west, and then also down here to the south. So Spanish Fork, Mapleton, Springville was originally like a lot of farmland, you know, with old farmhouses, but is now seeing a lot of new developments. Really quick, I want to touch on the schools in these areas. If you're loving this video, make sure to give me a thumbs up on it, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. You want to make sure you subscribe and click that bell so that you get notified when I release new videos just like this one. You don't want to miss a thing. If you're thinking about making that move here to Utah, you're going to stay up to date on everything you need to know about what it's like to live, work, eat, sleep, and play here in Utah. So Alpine School District sits up here at the north end of the county. This is by far the best county, or excuse me, the best school district in the entire state. So Alpine School District, one that you want to definitely consider if you're looking for good schools. You want to be in the Alpine School District. So definitely look out for that. I'm also going to point out the fact that you've got Utah Valley University here, and of course you've got Brigham Young University right down here. So these are the two universities that we have here in Utah County. They're fairly close to each other, which is pretty unique. So this whole Provo Orem area, it's a very high student population. A lot of college people live in these areas. So just something to keep in mind there. Of course, that's not the only, you know, demographic that lives there in the city, but it is very heavy because of the two universities that you've got in that area. Zooming out here really quick, I want to talk about the major roads that you have. So of course you've got I-15, which runs all the way down the Wasatch Front. This is kind of your main corridor. This is going to be your main highway here. And then in Utah County, of course, you've got State Street, you've got Main Street here, American Fork, and then it turns into State Street as it comes down here south. So this is that other yellow road here. Again, all of these yellow little squares you can see are commercial development. So there's a lot of commercial development in the area here along State Street, just like in most cities. And then you've got SR 189, which comes up and goes up to up the Provo Canyon, which takes you all the way to Deer Creek State Park, and Jordanelle, which is just up here. Now let's talk a little bit about what there is to do. Now, of course, you've got the Wasatch Mountains here to the east. Mount Timpanogos is extremely popular. There's some very cool hiking there. A lot of people do this hike multiple times per week. Some people do it once a month. There's a ton of trails there, so this is a great place to go for hiking. Of course, you've got Provo, you've got the Y Mountain. There's a lot of hiking, a lot of rock climbing, pretty much everything that you want to do here in these mountains as far as that's concerned. You've got Utah Lake, which, to be honest with you guys, is not really the best lake to go boating on or go fishing in or go swimming. It's just kind of a dirty lake. It's got algae problems, not really a place that you want to spend your time at. If you're going to go to the lake, you want to come up here, you want to go over here to Strawberry Reservoir, or you want to go to Deer Creek or Jordanelle. You want to go to one of these other lakes. Utah Lake, not really the place you want to go. As you come over here past Eagle Mountain, as you come out to this area, this is kind of known as just desert. A lot of people take their guns out here, they take their four-wheelers, they take their razors out here, they take their ATVs. This is where you're going to go and ride those. There's tons of open space, and it's a great place to be able to do that because there's basically nothing out there. So that's kind of the other side of the spectrum where you're going to go and enjoy those activities. The other thing on the roads that I would need to point out is that you also have kind of this same grid system. If you watch my video on Salt Lake County, you probably saw that most of Salt Lake County is very grid oriented. It's basically looks exactly like that. It's great for getting around because you know that you're on first west, second west, third west, fourth west, fifth west. It just goes in a grid like that, and it makes it easy to get around even if you don't have instructions. In today's age, of course, we have GPS, so it may not be as helpful, but it is just nice as you get familiar with it. It's easy to get around and know, oh, it's 6 blocks that way, or I'm 12 blocks this way to get where I'm going. So that's kind of nice. You've got that same thing here in Utah County. Now, I do want to talk a little bit about the development that's going to be happening here in Utah County as well. So most of the development is happening in Saratoga Springs, Eagle Mountain. Of course, Lehigh still has a lot of development. Highland, Alpine, and Cedar Hills are seeing a lot of development, especially in the higher end price ranges. But most of your development in Orem, Provo, Linden, Pleasant Grove, American Fork, a lot of that land is already built out, so you're not seeing as much development there anymore. As you come down here south, Spanish Fork, Springville, Mapleton. Earlier I mentioned that was a lot of farmland, so you'll still find a lot of that stuff there, but there is a lot of new developments going in, and it is more affordable for people to get into a new home in these areas. As you continue moving south, you get into Salem, you get into Payson. This is going to continue to get cheaper. This is where you're really going to see the growth. So if you're thinking about buying a home here in Utah County, this is one of the areas that you might want to consider. You might either want to go south if you like kind of that smaller town feel, if you don't need to be close to Salt Lake City or Salt Lake County for that matter, you might want to go south. You know, keep in mind you're going to be further from the airport, things like that. But you do get an opportunity to get in before a lot of the development has happened. These areas still do kind of have that small town feel a little bit, but it is rapidly changing. If you want to be closer to the airport, if you want to be closer to Salt Lake County, then you probably want to consider, you know, Eagle Mountain or Saratoga Springs. These are two other areas that are growing like crazy right now, and so you're going to see a lot of growth in them. It could be that other opportunity to get in before the market sees a lot of upswing. You know, Utah County, like I've mentioned in a few videos, is expected to double in population over the next 30 years. Right now it's about 600,000 people, and in 30 years they're expecting it to be about 1.3 million. So over double, over a 2 times increase in the population here. Most of that growth is going to have to be out on the west side of the county here. And that being said, there's also rumors, these are just rumors at this point, but I know people have talked about it. It could be 5 years out, it could be 30 years out, I don't know, but there are rumors that there could be a bridge across Utah Lake at some point taking you into Provo. As you look at the map here, you can see Provo kind of sits right in the middle, and then you've got Utah Lake. So that could open up a lot of this area here for development further down on the west side of Utah Lake. Right now, if you live over there, you've got to drive all the way around just to get to Provo. A bridge would cut down that commute, you know, by 30 minutes or so. So that would open up a ton of opportunity for more of this land to be developed. All right, now let's talk a little bit about the prices. What kind of prices are you going to expect to see? Well, I want to point out prices in a couple different areas. I've already talked about Highland, Cedar Hills, Alpine. I know that that's kind of the more expensive side of town, but if you come over here to Lehigh, you're going to expect to see single family homes in roughly the low 400s. Of course, you've got homes on the high end, you've got homes that are under that, but roughly low 400s for this area. You've got some older homes that are going to sell for cheaper, and then you've got new homes that are going to be more expensive than that. If you come over here to Saratoga Springs or Eagle Mountain, the ranches, it's actually going to be a little bit higher because you've got a vast majority of new homes that are selling for more. They're bigger, they're newer, they're fancier, and so their prices are a little bit bigger, but it does come with that benefit. You know, it's like buying a new car. You don't want to buy a really nice old luxury car that might be the same cost as a brand new Toyota, for instance. So it's kind of that same concept. You might get a house that's a little bit more basic, a little bit further out of town, but it is still going to be more expensive just because it does have that new, it's brand new. So Saratoga Springs, you're going to expect to see prices in the low 400s as well, like $415, $420 for a median home price for a single family home. I'm only talking about single family homes here. If you go down into Provo, if you go into Provo, Orem, or any of these more established areas, you're going to find older homes here, but you're actually going to find prices are quite a bit cheaper. You're going to be about $350 to $360 in the Provo area. So this might be something you want to consider. If you're okay with an older home that's maybe had some updates, or maybe you want to do the updates yourself, then that might be something you consider. You can get into a home in the Provo area for a lot cheaper. You can be close to the healthcare industry, which is kind of centered in that Provo-Orem area, and you can also be close to tech as well. And then the next thing I want to talk about is tech. So like I said, tech is mostly focused here in Lehigh, but it does stretch all the way from up here on kind of the southern end of the Draper area right here along Point of the Mountain, all the way down into Provo, Orem. So this whole main corridor is basically what you would call, what people would say is the Silicon Slopes. If you work in the tech industry or are looking to get into it, this is the area that you want to live in. Luckily, we don't have crazy traffic like a lot of other big cities. Yes, we do have traffic, and yes, this area is exploding with growth, so you are going to get it, but it's not as bad. You know, a lot of people live up here in South Jordan, they live in Riverton, Bluffdale, Harriman, Draper, and then they make that commute down into Lehigh or American Fork. A lot of people, the opposite, you know, they live in Provo or they live in Spanish Fork, and they make that commute up north, or even from out west. So you can really live anywhere. Depending on where you're at, your commute can be anywhere from 15 to 30, maybe 40 minutes at most, to make your commute into these areas. Of course, right now everybody's working from home, so that does help a little bit. You don't have as many, as much time on the road, but just something to kind of keep in mind there, that you can live in these other cities to the north, to the west, or to the south, and still have a pretty short commute time into that tech corridor. So with that being said, guys, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. Get in touch with me if you're making that move here to Utah. I love helping you figure out what type of home and lifestyle you want to have when you make that move here. I can help you with the home buying process, the relocation process, and just about everything you need to know to make that a smooth transition. Give me a thumbs up here on the video, and I'll catch you in the next one.